Shelley Winter Show, live, local, topical, and relevant. So this morning I jumped up very early. Been a busy week for me. I jumped up early. Actually, I got there way early because I had the wrong time. But the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, shout out to President and CEO of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, Chris Clark. But I went to, they had a inclusion summit. And it was all about inclusion. Right, and all these companies were there, and one of the interesting comments. So I sat at the table. You heard it in the news about Gwinnett College starting a teaching program. I was at the table with the Gwinnett College president, President Joseph, and beautiful, smart lady. As a matter of fact, shout out to Sloan, her chief of staff, listens to us at night. So shout out to her, and we appreciate her listening. But they were on a panel, the college presidents. There were three of them, and one of the college presidents, he's with Dalton College, and Dalton College is a Hispanic labeled college, and meaning that the government has established them as a Hispanic college, meaning more than a 27 or 25% of their students have to be Hispanic, and because it's in Dalton. And that's a lot of Hispanics in Dalton. And he was talking about the issue with the workforce and why you need inclusion type programs is because of the workforce and thing. And this ties into what Trump said slightly, right? But it's because in Dalton you have the carpets and you have all of these manufacturing plants, and there's a lot of Hispanic students. So Dalton College, they service these students. And one of the things he said is that Americans are not having babies at the numbers that you need to replace your citizens. And so goes back to what I said about Trump. If you're not having babies to replace, to grow or even keep the numbers of citizens in this country the same and possibly grow it, and you're not having the babies to do that, and at the same time, you're screaming and yelling about getting rid of a whole bunch of people that may be here illegally. At the same time, you don't want H-1B visas here, and you just want the country to be kind of the same, right? Then what's going to happen to you in 20 years? You don't have the people behind you funding Social Security in order to take care of you, which you paid into. Again, an example of where racism hurts you. But listen, I had a chance to ask Chris Clark some questions about it. And it was a great summit, and shout out to the Georgia Chamber of Commerce for putting this on. It was a great event. I learned a lot. But I had a couple minutes just to spend with President CEO Chris Clark, and here's how it went. So I'm here with Chris Clark, who is the president of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. Good to see you again, my friend.
See you, Shelley.
I'm at the Inclusion Breakfast. With everything going on today, I'm seeing a lot of DEI programs being canceled by corporations.
Right.
I'll say it clearly, my side of the fence seems to hate it. What's the importance of having this breakfast, and how are you still having these kinds of conversations in this day and age?
Yeah, listen, for us, these conversations are really about your workforce and helping small businesses grow. And that might be a veteran small business, a woman-owned small business. It might be how we reach out to men and women in our workforce that we want to bring in that aren't working today. And so I think these conversations need to continue to happen. I know DE&I has fallen out of favor. A lot of corporations have changed their approach, but all of them are still very much focused on how do we get the best workforce, how do we help our workforce grow, and how do we help small businesses in our community. And so this is a much broader conversation that we've had for the last, 7 years now, far beyond just what Washington talks about as far as DEI goes.
And it's interesting because I came out of college, years ago, and no one labeled it anything. They just said we need to hire good people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether they were green, blue, whatever, straight, whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just hire good people. But now when we slap a label on it, do you think that was a mistake a couple of years ago that corporations went and slapped a label on it?
Yeah, I think you could have accomplished the same thing. Right? Because if you just look at the workforce today, it's the most diverse workforce in history, and businesses are just trying to figure out, where do I go to find those workers, bring them in? And a lot of the time we have people that are on the outside looking in. They don't know how to come into the workforce. Let's go help them too. We have that with a lot of veterans. It's a huge concern in the state of Georgia, so we spend a lot of time on that. So I think it's the focus needs to be on how do we improve our workforce and help our workers. That's what we're doing today.
My man. Good to see you, my
Good to see you,
friend.
Shelley.
And that was Chris Clark, CEO and president of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. See, DEI, the problem with DEI is they labeled it something, and it gave it, they made it a target. Companies have always hired diverse talent wherever they could find them. A company's job, like a government's job, is just to keep going, make money, and be successful. And you have to hire diverse people in order to service a diverse culture. America is very diverse. It's a melting pot. People come here from all over. People are here. They're different. So you have to have people that match the audience you're trying to serve. Just simple mathematics, simple marketing. Just simple. A great event that I went to. The breakfast was good. It was down at the Georgia International Convention Center, and it was really good event. But you heard him say, it's about workforce development. You're not going to have Georgia cannot stay the number one place to do business if you're trying to get rid of everybody. It just can't happen. And no, people don't have to assimilate. They can be Americans. But if you're Indian, you still want to celebrate Diwali. You shouldn't have to come here and say, I'm not going to ever celebrate Diwali because I'm an American now. No, that's part of it. That's part of the greatness of this country, that you have many different cultures. Why do people can still be American and still celebrate their culture from where they come from? Jamaicans can still come here and celebrate being Jamaican. You could still be American. You could still love this country, as every single immigrant has done since they come here. But you still keep your culture. Eastern Europeans that came here in the early 1900s, they didn't stop being Italian. They didn't stop being Jewish. They didn't stop being Irish. They just became American-loving Irishmen, American-loving Italians, American-loving Jews. It's the way of the world. Why should it change now? Shelley Winter Show. We'll be right back. 404-872-0750. 1-800-WSB Talk. We're taking your calls.